Competitive. Relating to or characterized by competition.
Competitive has always been in video games.
There's CSGO.
Oh!
Call of Duty.
He's able to get another kill.
Tony Hawk. Many other games like that. But one place where I would think competitive wouldn't lie is in a realistic simulator. In quotes, realistic simulator. So Skate 3. How do we get from this to this? Let's just rewind back on these clips and go way far back. We need to know where Skate 2 left off. With Skate 2, with the difficulty that it was, session spots were always doing flat ground 1 tricks unless you were falling off a ledge, or if you could do any more rotations, you would always fit those in. You're always doing the most technical tricks to get the most rewarding points. Repeating tricks was already known, so you didn't want to do the same trick twice, because doing the same trick twice would get you less points, and it would reduce your whole score value. So if we take that knowledge and apply it straight to 2010 in Skate 3. Welcome to the history of competitive in Skate 3. Disclaimer before this video starts. 1, I can't spell or speak. I have dyslexia, which means it's all really bad for me, and I don't know why I even do this to myself. Also, just to quickly add to this video that everything may not be 100% accurate or the truth to 100%. There may be some blurred lines in between, just because we had to go from word of what people have said from knowledgeable people, as well as some YouTube videos, and there may be some parts or gaps which are missing, which you may know or may not be filled in. Just to let you know. I hope you enjoy. So first things first, I kind of want to talk about 2 separate maps before we get into the beginning of 2010 of competitive. So if I'm assuming you're not used to competitive on Skate 3, or you're seeing this from an outsider perspective, there are 2 sets of maps really. There are session and 1-up maps. 1-up maps and session maps, these maps allow you to land and continue going in a slot time. It's basically, you can land as many times as you like, and you can just try and hit as many points as you can in this set of time in this map. The other, on the other hand, are called revert maps. These maps are, you only get a certain amount of time as well, but unfortunately the time is normally very quick. It's about 15 seconds or so, depending on the map. However, if you try to land in a manual like you would do in a session or 1-up map, it will end your combo and end the run. The only other way to keep your combo going is either being in a grind or staying in the air as long as possible. So these revert maps have to be hit in 1 combo. So let's start in 2010. Skate 3, where they just started, servers are up, everything's up and running, and everyone wants to try and get the biggest scores they can on 1-up map, revert map, and they were just all having a great time trying to have as much fun as they can do, trying to get the highest score. It was very quickly found that the 4 advanced most tricks were the best way to get the points in the time available. And everyone was sticking to normal difficulty as well at this point. The tricks that they were doing were the 4 most advanced tricks, being Nollie 360 inward heel flip, 360 inward heel flip, Nollie 360 hard flip, and 360 hard, whilst doing 180 variations. And keeping these 4 tricks in a manual and landing on the 4th trick. And this was pretty much happened to every map that there is, for every 1-up map, every session map, except from revert maps. Revert maps are a bit different. As mentioned earlier, with revert maps, if you are trying to combo on the ground, not on like a rail, or technically what's classed as in air, it will drop your score. So the best possible method for this to begin with was to try and stay in the air or on a rail as long as possible. Nothing was found yet. It was stay on a ledge, on a grind, in the air as long as possible, and try and land as cleanly as possible. As you're in the air for some time, but not a lot of time, most of the time was maybe like late heel flips, kick flips, if you can do in the air. Again, try and use the 4 most advanced tricks if you can do. Later on that year, comp evolved. In session 1-up spots, there was a new method found which will get you more points in the shorter period of time. This was soon to be known as one-tricking. It's doing either a 360 inward heel flip or a 360 hard flip, dark catch 360, but you bust me and fakie. With this dark catch as well, instead of double tapping, it was immediately known to flip out as it wasn't optimal, and as well as flipping out with your analog stick would get you more points. And dart catching was the new mechanic in Skate 3. The new dart catch mechanic added into Skate 3 found to be most optimal for points. Revert maps also had an update. Popping was slightly found. I say slightly just because it wasn't fully developed as it is to this day. It was still the same method of jumping off a ledge, trying to get the most amount of height or air as possible. However, afterwards you were popping as much as you can do. The popping wasn't consistent. It was just flicking your stick, mostly trying to do an ollie. Sometimes it was accidental kickflips, sometimes underflips. It wasn't consistent. But these pops were newly found, and the more tricks you were doing, the more points you were getting. So therefore the score was always increasing because people were able to do more tricks. They're able to keep their tricks in a combo. Popping wasn't very consistent. People were trying to do it with 180 variations and sometimes doing kickflips and heel flips in there. However, nowadays, popping is a lot more consistent compared to how it was then. And this ends us off to 2010 and to 2011. In the beginning of 2011, session spots and 1-up maps were still the same. One tricking, fast as you can, get as many points as you can do. However, revert maps had an update. It was found doing a revert 180 after landing a trick kept your combo flowing. The new optimized run was to do a one trick 180. So it could be a 360 hard, it could be any trick. 180, land in a manual, and revert 180 to complete a full 360, and then complete this process over and over and over again. Then on your last trick, you will finish the combo by doing a 360 dart catch with a stale to complete your full 360. Because of certain tricks at the end of the combo, you would try to do a hard flip, burial kickflip, then dart catch 360 hard flip. This is when all over came into play. All over meaning every map. When someone says, I'm all over 5k, that means they can get 5,000 points on every map in Skate 3. So all over scores went from 5k at the very beginning of the year, then soon all over 8k at the end of the year. Soon after, in that same year, the Ghost Revert was found. It was found in this exact location at Stadium Bank by Tony Marone 420. Ghost Revert was given this name because your body was not doing a rotation at all, but your body would tweak like it's doing the revert, but it would keep your combo alive. Soon after, in that same month, Sneaky Leroy applied Ghost Reverts to every spot. Scores on every revert map increased massively due to this. Combos were able to be kept alive on flat ground with a manual. Finally, later in 2011, session and 1-up spots got an update. Flunker brought Ghost Reverts to session spots and 1-up maps. It was found that keeping your combo, even in session spots, for a short period of time was more rewarding. But as so early on, Ghost Reverts weren't found that they were able to keep your speed. So half of the run was normal Flunker with Ghost Reverts, and then the other half of the run was one tricking. This was used to maintain speed to keep your points up. During 2011, when this was all going on, players were perfecting these techniques, which enabled them to multiply scores, and this brings us to 2012. The improvements in 2012 were that every trick that is dart catchable was dart catch. With session 1-up maps in 2012, free tricking evolved into what it is today. They were more consistent, and players were able to perform it more often. The three trick is consisting of a nollie 360 half flip, nollie 360 inward heel flip, and a nollie tray flip. All of these would be dart catched and heel flipped out on every trick bar one, which would be kick flipped, as doing a different trick flip out would give you more points. And throughout of 2012, session spots and 1-up spots, with the improvements that they were making, were able to get to an average of 1k points per second with just 3 tricking alone. Revert maps saw a huge point increase, starting from all over 8k to 9 to 10 to 11, all the way up to 12k within a year. Everyone at this point was still on normal. Normal was found to be better because you have less time in the air and more time to be able to flick your tricks and get more tricks in until 2013. 2013, players perfected the reverts and ghost reverts. Now what was done in session and 1-up maps was done on revert maps. Players were pushing the boundaries more and more. Players were now able to achieve higher than 1k points per second on every single session spot. And Sneaky Leroy announced he was all over 13k. During this year, the switch was made from normal to easy mode. Players believed that normal was complete. They believed normal was perfected. Nothing more could be done. The switch from normal to easy meant that scores were actually much lower on easy mode. This was because of airtime. Less airtime on normal mode meant that players were able to spend more time tricking and spend more time getting points. In easy mode, you were able to get much more height and less points per second. The highlight of the year of 2013 was Sneaky, or Sneaky Leroy, or now known as Snicks, would hit 38k on the ditch on normal. This run would become infamous as the longest lasting record on Skate 3, not to be beaten again until 2021. And this now brings us to 2014. Every player has moved to easy mode. In 2014, there wasn't really much update for revert maps. It was still the same, Ghost Revert. However, all the players were now on easy. However, for session and 1-up maps, the pull down method was found. The pull down method was a simple way of continuing your speed or gaining speed whilst flicking tricks. In Skate 3, if you hold down your left analog stick whilst doing a ollie or nollie or any trick, you'll find that you'll gradually slowly go backwards and then gain speed whilst constantly just doing a trick. This was found that flicking this down or pulling this down whilst doing your trick or landing your trick, you were able to maintain your speed and or gain speed. This worked well for maps which were long and flat, and landing any trick would allow you to gain more speed. This was a gradual increase of speed, but it was still speed nevertheless. And in 2014 was found with a new method to gain more points in your runs. 4 pops was founded by Above Swift. This was then shortly discovered to then be 5 pops. This changed the scores incredibly for session and 1-up. And in 2014, Alexis30 was the first person to announce he was all over 14 in Skate 3. What assisted him so much with all over 14 was his new discovery of the Alexis flip, ending the runs. This flip will help skaters gain an extra couple of points at the end of their run to push them over hopefully that next K mark, and that's what helped Alex achieve his 14 Ks. But being all over 14 wasn't just the end for Alex. Alex was the first person known to hit 80k Megapark in 2014. And this brings us to the end of 2014. Everyone's moved over to easy, and from now on we'll stay on easy. And now we're on to 2015. Alex decided he wasn't done. Alex was the first person to hit 50,000 points on the ditch, which then took nearly 3 years later on down the line for anyone else to hit 50k, not only match and beat his world record. And session and 1-ups had another update to it. Infinite pops were found. Infinite pops were founded by Y3 Luke, and his discovery was one to put in his own words. So I actually was in a call with him and I asked him, and this is what he had to say. So Luke, how did you find infinite popping?
Alright, so it all started at Naval, and here's what I was doing, right? I was 5-popping, right? The normal 5-pop meta. And then, I don't really remember exactly, where I found it. I know I was at Naval, right? I don't really remember where at. But anyways, I'm 5-popping like this, right? And then I do this. I accidentally dropped my score. And as you can see, my score dropped, right? And I was like, wait a second. I knew the way that I held my stick, and then I did it again, and then I did it again, and then I was like, hold on, I got off my board. I was like, wait a second. And then I backed out. I don't remember who I was in a game with. They didn't really notice that I was infinite popping, but then I backed out, and I was like, wait a second. And then I was doing it in free skate, and I was dropping my score every time. And I was like, hold on. So then I hopped in a 1-up, at Observe This and Party Play, and I got the record first try with so many mess ups, and I was like, what the fuck, and then whenever that happened, I knew that I found something kind of crazy. And yeah, that's basically how I found it.
Not after long of Luke discovering the infinite pop, he was the first person to hit 23k in a 1-up map. Shortly after, the first person hit 24k by Flippy the Fish. And to round 2015 up, as always, the first all over 15k was hit by Uzia. Now, unfortunately for 2015, was the last big push forward in a long time. 2016 comes and goes. Only highlight for 2016. Mystic Ramen got the first 25k flat at 1-up. Nothing really happened between 2016 to 2020. It was mostly people just 1-upping scores using these same methods. These methods are still ghost reverting for revert maps, and the new infinite pop for session and 1-up maps. The great thing about infinite pops was that you could consistently get points, and your landing is only done on a frame. Therefore, your points per second could increase massively as you're landing so quickly. In 2020, the first all over 16 was hit by Voodoo, and it was soon discovered that ghost reverting would be laid to rest as popping was used in every map possible. Ghost reverting will allow the skater to keep their combo alive flat on revert maps, but that was too slow. So popping was used to allow the user to instantly flick their trick as they hit the ground and to think that the game could be in the air while still performing tricks. And this is what helped Voodoo get to the first all over 16k. Luke comes back again and shows to the world the first 90k Megapark run. And this brings us to last year, 2021. What's happened now? What updates have there been? Voodoo was the first person to hit all over 17k. And during 2021, Luke was the first person ever to hit 26k on a 1-up map, which is now believed to be the cap in points and the final point in all over scores. Who knows what progression could be next? If there could be any progression, there's been no major update since 2015 with the infinite pops and popping in revert maps. What method could be next? Who knows? Is this the cap? Who knows? Could a new Krail pop enter the mix and get more points? Who knows? This has been the history of comp in Skate 3. Thank you very much for watching. I do want to give some quick shout outs before this video ends, just to say thank you for the help of people who have made this possible. We'd love to give a massive thank you to Luke, also known as Y3Luke, Sneaky Leroy, also known as Sneaky or Snicks, Cinematic, Alexis30 or Alex, and Ramen for your help on this video. Without these guys, this video would not have been possible. I knew stuff about comp from maybe like 2015 onwards, but I was just barely knowing about comp then, but these guys really helped. Again, not everything's 100% accurate in this video. There could be some blurred lines in between, and we was just trying to find stuff off of channels which aren't around anymore or stuff like that. Honorable mentions goes to Underclass and XII for being the lead forward for competitive teams in Skate 3 and progressing to what was now been memorable throwback, honestly a amazing library of all videos of comp and progression. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, cue the outro.